perimeter and area of composite shapes, question 1B. Before you start this question, you want to make sure that you have the formula sheet that was provided in your package. So question 1B has the same instructions as question 1A. It said determine the perimeter and area of each of the following shapes. So this shape is an unusual looking shape. If I look at it, it is not any of the single shapes that are shown on our formula sheet, but instead it is a combination of shapes. So when I take a look at this, to me it looks like a rectangle that has had part of a circle cut out of it. So when I'm doing perimeter, perimeter is the distance around the outside. So all I need to do is add up all of our outside edges in order to calculate the perimeter. So I notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4 outside edges, and I know 2 of them. So my first goal is going to be to figure out what the other missing parts are. So I notice that this side here, from here to here, is 40 centimeters, which leads me to believe that this side up here is also going to be 40 centimeters. Now, to do the part of the circle, I believe that is half of a circle, and I am going to need a formula off my formula sheet for this. So to find the perimeter or the circumference of a circle, I have a choice. I can either do pi d, so pi times the diameter, or 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius. So if I have the diameter, I'll use the first one. If I have the radius, I'll use the second one. When I look at my picture, I notice that this distance from top to bottom should be 20 centimeters, which is my diameter. So I think I'm going to use pi d. So I'm going to use this space down here to calculate what that missing amount is. So the circumference of a circle is pi times the diameter, except we don't have a full circle. We only have half of a circle. So I want to take that formula and divide it by 2 so that I only get half of the perimeter. So my circumference is pi. I'm going to use my pi button for that, times d, which is my diameter, which is 20, and then divide that by 2 because it's only half of a circle. So I'm going to try that on my calculator. If you don't have a pi button, you can use 3.14159. So pi times 20 and then divided by 2. So I did get a decimal as my answer. I do like to keep 2 decimal places. That would be 31.41. When I take a peek at the next number, that number, if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's going to round up. So since that number is a 5, that's going to push that up to 42 instead of 41. So it's going to be 31.42 centimeters. So this is 31.42 centimeters. All right, so I think I'm ready to calculate the perimeter now that I know all 4 sides. So in the previous example, we made up our own formula. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to say perimeter is A plus B plus C plus D. So I think I'm going to call this A, B, C, and D. So I'm going to do 40 plus 31.42 plus 40 plus 20. I'm going to use my calculator to help me out. So 40 plus 31.42 plus 40 plus 20 gives me 131.42. And this is centimeters. So perimeter, we just add up all of our outside edges, but for area, I need to try to break this down into smaller shapes or simpler shapes that I can combine. So I believe this is a rectangle with half of a circle cut out. So I'm going to try to find the area of the rectangle. I'm going to try to find the area of half of a circle, but instead of adding them together, if I were to add those 2 together, I would have a rectangle and then a half a circle. That's not the shape we have. We have a rectangle with half of a circle removed or cut out. So this would be what I would get if I added. This is what I would get if I subtract. So I'm going to subtract the circle from the rectangle. So I'm going to start by finding the area of the rectangle. I called that shape number 1. Now the area of a rectangle, according to my formula sheet, is length times width. So length times width. So the area of this rectangle is length times width. My length is 40. The width is 20. And I don't need a calculator for this. 40 times 20 is 800. And that is centimeters. And because I multiplied centimeters by centimeters, it is centimeters squared. Now, area number 2, that's the half of a circle. The area of a circle, according to my formula sheet, is pi r squared, which means I need to know the radius. So if I take a look at my picture, I'm going to write the formula first. So pi r squared. It is only half of a circle, so I'm going to divide that by 2 because I don't want the full thing. I just want half. So when I take a look at my picture, I have the diameter. The diameter is 20. The radius would be the distance halfway across that circle, so maybe there. Half of 20 is 10. So my radius is going to be 10. So area number 2 is pi. I'm going to use my pi button for that, times r, so 10, and then squared, so I'm going to do it twice, and then divided by 2. So pi times 10 divided by 2, or you could do 10 squared on your calculator if you have a scientific calculator. So I'm going to do by pi button, 3.14159, please, if you don't have one, times 10 divided by 2. And I get 157.07. I look at the next number, it's a 9. That means it's going to push this up to become 0.8. So area number 2 is 157.08. That is approximate, so I'm going to put a dot there, and that is in centimeters squared. And then all I need to do to get my final area is add those two together. I'm running out of space here. So my final area is 800 plus 157.08. So I'm going to take the number I already have, add 800, and I get 957.08, and that would be centimeters squared. You can check out the next video if you wanted to know how to do question number 2.